Hi guys, you've made it to day 2. It means you survived day 1. You survived the homework, you survived the reading, you survived the video. I believe that all of you should get a t-shirt that says, I have survived the game plan boot camp. That's the way we roll in here, is survival, right? Survival. Thank you for the honor of being allowed to teach a second night. I will tell you personally, of all 25 days boot camp, this one's my favorite. There's a lot of really, really good nuggets in boot camp, but this one I'm privy to because it's the one night that really tends to ignite people and really get them saying, okay, I can do this. I can fight for this. Hello, Larissa. It's good to see you. Thank you for the really kind words online. I've been so blessed by your comments. So blessed. Over 1,600 of them on the last video. So I'm going to try to get caught up and respond to you guys. It means a lot to me. A lot to me. My name, if you're just joining, maybe this is the first time, maybe one of your leaders invited you to watch the boot camp and you haven't seen the first one. My name is Sarah Harnish. I'm a Young Living Platinum. I believe our team's going to go Diamond in February. So we're very, very, very close to Diamond right now. And I'm the leader of the Oil Ability team. We're a team that's 2 years old. And I've got a big, big, big announcement to start tonight's training with. Very, very, very big. Adeline, I love your excitement. We had people in Belgium last night that stayed up till 4:30 in the morning to watch the boot camp. So, Vera's books arrived. Yeah. First off, I just want to thank you so much for sharing this boot camp with your teams. Thank you so much for picking up the book. We now hold 2 of the top 10 spots on the Amazon bestseller charts. 2 of the top 10 are Young Living books. Like, is that not absolutely crazy? The book is sitting at number 6 right now, and a bookseller that is the number 1 bookseller in the world with over 1.8 million titles. We are number 6. And the workbook is number 7. So thank you so much for sharing the book, for sharing with your teams, for ordering for your leaders, for getting them on. You are blessing our family, and it means the world to me. Thank you. And you're blessing yourself, which excites me even more than our blessing. We are blowing up Amazon, like literally blowing up Amazon. They've had to outsource the book now because they cannot keep it in stock. So they've got 2 other printing companies that are printing them also so that they can keep up with the Young Living family that's ordering this book. So thank you. Thank you for putting us on the bestseller charts. It's an honor. An honor to be there. We're also blowing up Facebook. If you guys didn't notice from last night, a reach of 93,000 people, my word, and 13,000 at last count on the boot camp last night. 13,000 people. We have people in Belgium, Germany. We have people in the Middle East that were on. We have large teams in Japan that were on, in South Korea, teams in Australia, New Zealand, all over Europe, all over America, all 50 states. So we really are a Young Living family doing this together. We're all in this together, and your rank doesn't matter. Your past doesn't matter. Your resources don't matter. Your money doesn't matter. All that matters is that you're putting into your business and that you have vision and that we're all on the same path and we're doing this side by side for these 25 days. So I'm so proud of you guys. So proud of you. If you think that you can't do this, maybe you're just popping in and you think, I'm not really sure I can do this. I want you to know that I'm a homeschooling mom of 5 kids. Matter of fact, there's our curriculum right there on those shelves. You're sitting in my living room with me right now. I'm a homeschooling mom of 5 kids in upstate New York, rural upstate New York, not New York City. That's 5 hours from us. We're in the middle of no man's land, upstate New York. Like, gotta drive 40 minutes to get to a Walmart, upstate New York, okay? My name is Sarah Harnish, and I'm the author of this book, which is what we're basing the boot camp on. It's called Game Plan, the complete strategy guide to go from starter kit to silver. It's a brand spanking new book. It just came out 4 weeks ago. If you don't have a copy in your hands yet, the boot camp is based off of this. Maybe you're waiting for your copy. You can get one on Kindle tonight while I'm doing the boot camp, and you can watch it on your phone. You can follow along on your phone. So put the boot camp up on your computer and then follow along with your book on Kindle on your phone. But just to give you an idea of some of the things that we're going to be covering, this is the table of contents on the inside of the book. Tonight we're going to go through story. And for me, we've had some dark moments, really dark moments in our family. And I'm going to be very, very raw and very, very real and very open. And the reason that I dump on you guys like that is because I want you to know that I believe in you and that you have what it takes to do this. Okay. You have what it takes to do this. So hopefully by sharing my story, you can say, you know what? I think I got this. I got a lot on my plate right now, but it's worth fighting through the mountain. It's worth climbing the mountain and continuing to pursue it because I know where this goes. I know where this this path and where this road leads. So we got Texas on here. That's awesome. Rusk, Texas also. Yes, and if you've already purchased the book, you can get the Kindle version for $2. So it's a good deal, a really good deal. So some of the things we're going to hit in the boot camp, not all tonight, but just I'm going through the table of contents. Avoiding pitfalls, the 6 mistakes that every business builder makes. We're going to do that one on Thursday. You really don't want to miss that training. Your greatest tool, detailed tour of the virtual office. Marketing, the biggest question I get asked anywhere is, how do I fill my classes? How do I get butts in seats? How do I make this work? We've got a foolproof system that will help you utilizing social media that doesn't make you feel salesy at all. Not petitioning constantly your family and friends. It's awesome. How to train your leaders, how to raise your leaders. We got scripts. The whole 60 pages of this book is scripts and what to say, giving you the words. So you've got something in your hands. Maybe you're a really gifted speaker and you're a really gifted writer, but not everybody in your team is going to be gifted speakers and gifted writers. So this is for you to duplicate. It's a duplicatable system, and it works. It works. So if you're just joining us, I want you to go back and I want you to watch video 1 first. You want to do these videos in order, the bootcamp videos in order, so that you don't get completely lost or get more advanced concepts too early, because we're building off of the previous videos. So it is an honor, though, to have you guys sharing with your teams. I so appreciate it. So appreciate it. We are starting off of the brand new resource I just mentioned, Game Plan, a product of the Oilability team, which is open to all Crossline, all who have their Young Living Starter Kit but haven't started the business, all Young Living Diamonds and above, all of Young Living Stars and distributors. You will never get put down here because of your rank, your pace, or your past. Never, ever, ever. This is an equal opportunity boot camp. I look at everybody the same. We've got friends, so many friends that are Diamonds and Crowns and Royal Crowns. We've traveled with them for the past 2 years, and they're treasured kindred friends of John and mine. And then we have so many friends that are distributors and stars that mean just as much to our family. So your rank doesn't matter in this boot camp. We don't look at rank. We look at where you're going and how to help you boost your team in areas where you think you've got an Achilles heel or a weakness. So we're going to hit everything. This is a completely comprehensive boot camp. Let me talk about the game plan system very quickly, just how it works, because there's a system to it. And then I have a huge announcement to make, and then we'll run into the training for tonight. So the game plan system is very, very simple to follow. I had a bunch of people writing me today saying, what was the homework? Again, it's very simple. You watch a video, you read a chapter in the book, and then you do the corresponding workbook chapter. So for on day 1, you're reading chapter 1 and doing the worksheet set for worksheet 1. If we're on day 2 for boot camp, you're watching the second video, you're reading the second chapter, and you're doing the second chapter of workbook pages. So it's really easy to follow along. You just got to look at whatever day we're on. All right, whatever day we're on. So very, very excited about that. Now this is a microcosm of a part of a bigger system that's going to help you grow your team. And if you implement this stuff, your team is going to explode. Our team alone had a 30,000 OGV spike last July just from this boot camp. Just from the boot camp. When we did a trial run of it, we used our team as guinea pigs to see where we would go. And if you implement the things that you're learning and you get out there and you do the stuff that you're being trained to do, which is, again, is not going to make you feel salesy or scared or anything. But if you get out and you do it, your team will grow very, very quickly. So let me walk you through the system, and then we'll get into the training. So, you know what? I get to give the announcement first. You guys ready for a big announcement? I'm very, very excited about this. We had somebody contact us 2 days ago and say, Sarah, we've noticed that you don't have your website up yet for the game plan book, and would you like some assistance with that? And I said, yes, please, we'd like help. I'm a news anchor and my husband's a software developer, but not in HTML. He codes in other languages. So I could really use your assistance. So in 48 hours, this team from the ground up built an entire website for us. So if you go to oilabilityteam.com, the site is up. It's there. And what does that mean? It means all the resources and the appendixes are there. All those free images, the essential rewards images that you can send out to your team to get them on essential rewards and give them ideas. The audio 101, the sound file of the 101. So if you've got leaders that you want to pick up that are on the other side of the country, you can send them a link and they can listen to the 101 class, and it's completely free tools for you. The game plan worksheet, the accountability worksheet that you use every single month to check off, to keep yourself on task every month. It's printable on the website. So you're going to want to go check all those resources out. As far as ordering DVDs, those should be up in the next week or so. We're working on them right now, but all that free stuff is up there, and we're going to keep adding content over and over and over and over again. You're going to see tons of new content on there over the course of the next week or two. So we're very, very excited about it. Very excited. And that's free. It's all yours for the taking. You can share it. You can use it on your teams. It costs you nothing. The only investment you have to make is to grab a book. That's it. And we're trying to keep this as low cost as we possibly can. So please share the website, share the book. You bless our family back by sharing the book with your team and by giving it to people on your team that rank up. Every time my leaders rank up every month, they get this book in their hands because I want to pour into them. So what is the system for game plan? How do you use it? Like, all right, I got 2 books in front of me, Sarah. What do I do with these 2 books? It's very, very, very simple. Oh, and I wanted to tell you one more thing. Forgive me here. Another thing that's on the website that I forgot to mention, because I get a lot of messages about this every day, probably 200 to 300 messages a day. There is a bulk option. We did that. We purposely went with the publisher that we did so that we could give you bulk pricing because we want to get this book into as many hands as we can to help people grow to diamond. So we are foregoing most of our royalties to offer you guys bulk pricing because this publisher would do it. We're very serious about leaders getting these books in their hands. So we have, starting today and forever, 40% off any bulk order you do that is 8 books or more. And it doesn't matter whether you get the book or the workbook. You can mix and match them, but it's 40% off if you order 8 books or more. If you want to know how to do that, you can go to oilabilityteam.com and there's a button there with bulk pricing and it shows you how to work directly with the publisher and you get a huge discount off the cost of the book. So why did we do that? Because we want to encourage you to use it to train your teams. Don't just do this boot camp and walk away. All right. Do the boot camp and train your leaders to train their leaders. All right. That's how the system works, is duplication. You've got to duplicate. And so we're coming alongside you and handing off our royalties so that you can do that in the most effective, cost-effective way out there. All right. But you don't have to email me. All the information is up on the Oilability Team website. Oilabilityteam.com. So it's John's and my gift to you guys. We adore you. We love you guys. So thank you for investing in yourselves, in your teams, in your families, all that info. Please don't email me about it. It's all up on the website and you'll be able to find it there. All right. Why do we do that? I had one lady ask me today, why are you handing off your royalties for bulk pricing? I don't understand. Because we want you to get the message of Young Living, hope, freedom, wellness, abundance, purpose into every home in the world. That's part of our mission too. We love this company as much as you guys love this company. And the way that we do that is by raising as many leaders as we can to go out and share that message of purpose and wellness and abundance with as many people as we can. And if they're well trained, then we're going to get oils into every home in the world. Okay. If they're well trained. So let's get out there and train. Let's train our team. So all of that bulk order information again is up on our website right now. You can access it at oilabilityteam.com. What does it take to do boot camp? To do your own boot camps when this one is over? The book and the workbook. That's it. So just have your leaders get on Amazon, or you can place a bulk order for your entire team and it will save you guys a lot of money to do it that way. That's it. So if you don't have them right now and you're doing this boot camp, go to Amazon and grab it. And if you want to follow along tonight, we've already mentioned you can get Kindle, the Kindle version as well. Y'all ready for night 2? This is a humzinger. This is a good one. It's rough. I'll tell you, I've got 3 oils on tonight. The ones that I'm using this evening, my favorite oil for courage. I love this oil. Let's see if I can do this without them rolling off of my couch. Here we go. This is still my favorite courage oil. Love it. Northern Lights Black Spruce. Oh my word. Amazing. I'm sharing my story. So I'm wearing forgiveness right now. And I'm also wearing hope right now. So these are the oils representing this boot camp tonight, forgiveness and hope. And you'll understand why in just a few minutes. So after tonight, just about all these videos will be 30 minutes or less. Not only that, but we have also hyperlinked all the videos on the oilabilityteam.com website. So instead of you having to go to Facebook and scrolling and trying to find the videos again, if you want to share them with your team and recreate the boot camp without having to shoot all the live videos, or if you want the author to teach the boot camp for you, it's totally okay. They're all on the Oilability Team website pinned. So you can literally go there and just give them a link. It'll be really easy to find them if you go to that website. All right. So did you guys get your homework done? Remember, we're running a contest. So if you can keep up with me the 5 days, on Saturday, every single Saturday, the whole 5 weeks that this boot camp runs, I'm going to give away a thumb drive with all my scripts on it, which we are not selling on the team website. So that's only for people who are keeping up with me. I'm going to give away 2 audio CDs, and I got a background as a news anchor. So they're recorded in a very, very nice studio, $100,000 studio. And I'm going to be giving away signed copies of the book and the workbook to one key person every Saturday who's been keeping up with it. So what do you have to do to keep up? You got to watch the video, you got to read the book, and you got to do the worksheets. And last night was a pretty tough one. That was a really rough worksheet, wasn't it? So I saw a lot of you guys posting your whys today, and honestly, quite a few of them had me in tears. They're rough. Many of you guys were crying as you wrote out your whys. There was one woman who shared a why that she's lost his job. So you got some really rough roads that you're walking out there, and I want to give you hope tonight. I want you to know that there's a way out, and that's what we're going to focus on this evening is your way out and why you need to take this seriously. Why it is so important that this business is not a hobby for you, but it is a business for you, and you treat it like a business. We're going to talk about that. A lot of you guys were crying as you wrote out your whys, and we were crying with you. I saw some of these posts, and my eyes are just welled up. Photographs of your pages that you guys had written out. It's awesome. But I want you to know God promises to take our hurt and our pain and to turn all of that for good. It's a promise in his word. He doesn't just leave you hanging. So no matter where you are, no matter where you've been, God is the God of restoration. And he's faithful. He's so faithful, guys. And you are right on the cusp of seeing all of that faithfulness poured out upon you because it's harvest season. All right. It's harvest season. So we're entering into the harvest. It's time for you guys to reap some of the things that you have sowed, and it's going to be very good. Very, very good. So tonight is all about restoration. It's the only night that I get to take an entire boot camp and just tell you a story. And as I mentioned, I've been in radio for 18 years, and so I love telling stories. This one is really, really hard for me to share because it's my story. You do not have to post your homework. I'm going to go on the integrity system that you did it, okay? You are poverty over, diamond rising. You guys are all diamonds. All of you are diamonds. So if you still believe that you can't do this, after last night we stacked your job up and what you're doing right now against Young Living. We made a pros and cons list and we looked at them side by side, okay? And if what you're doing right now is going to get you out of where you are and where you want to be, that's what we did yesterday. Today, I want you to get over your disbelief. And I want you to get into the mindset that, yes, this actually is possible for me and this actually can go where I need it to go. It can go there. So if you still believe that you can't do this, we're going to knock that out of the water tonight. We're totally going to knock it out. What does it take to rock a successful Young Living business? What does it take? Do you have to be successful in sales? Do you have to have a huge circle of influence? Do you have to have a background in natural health? I hope not, because I don't have any of those. I have nothing, right? You simply need a strong enough why. You just need a good why. You need a good reason. Why? Why do you need a good why? Because if your reason is strong enough, you will blast through mountains to get to it. If your reason is your little kids, and you looking in their faces and knowing that you don't have anything for them, that you have no legacy income to leave them if something happens to you, if it's looking in your spouse and seeing how weary and tired they are, going to a job where they're not appreciated and they're exhausted every single day and watching their health go like this. If those are your whys and you're keeping them right here in front of you, you will blast through mountains to get those things accomplished. You just will. So it's really important that you have a strong enough why and that you know where you're going. You got to know it. You have to. It's critical to your business. So absolutely critical. So today we're going to work on your why. Yesterday was bucket lists and vision casting. Today is your why. For you to see the power of a personal why, you have to hear my story, and you've got to know why I'm so passionate about leading others to wellness, and just as important, I feel, to financial freedom. A lot of people take financial freedom and they throw it on the back burner, and they're like, no. What I really care about is making sure that we're healthy and that we're doing well and we have time and all that. But for me, and you'll understand in a minute when I explain, finances are right up there with the other reasons as well. So as you listen, the biggest thing that I want you to get from this is that your past does not have to define you. It doesn't, okay? It can become the fuel that drives you to succeed. I'm going to repeat that, all right? Your past does not have to define you. It can become the fuel that drives you to succeed. It's what pushes you where you're going. So here's my story. You guys ready for it? I grew up in suburban Chicago. I'm a Chicago girl. I live in upstate New York right now because I moved here for an anchoring position, but I lived in Chicago for 30 years. My whole childhood was there. I grew up in a suburban area, so outside of the city, in a townhouse. There were four townhouses connected together in a very, very poor area, in a subdivision that was known for gang activity. Matter of fact, our subdivision was right in between two big gang areas, and they traded, their trading ground was in our subdivision. So that was where they traded drugs and all sorts of illicit things was in my backyard. Matter of fact, there was one day we were coming home from school. I was in elementary school. I'm never going to forget this. We were on the bus and they stopped the bus for 45 minutes. Our subdivision was in a horseshoe shape and we were in the middle of the horseshoe. So we were just stuck there. And we sat there and we could see a house across the street with a SWAT team going into the house. They had helicopters flying over the house, doing drug raid. A house, which is maybe 4 houses down from the house that I lived in. It was a major drug raid. So that's, to give you an idea, that's where I grew up. Not a very good place. Not a very good place at all. My father is an alcoholic. He's splits. It breaks my heart. I want to see him healthy and whole. I love him with all of my heart, but he's just in that place. And he's had more DUIs than I can count on both of my hands. All right, more than I can count on both of my hands. And so I have a lot of not pleasant memories with him. My dad, when he's sober, is amazing. He's an amazing, amazing man. But when he's drunk, it's very hard, very, very hard. And he's lost his license for life. He's a convicted felon. Has a felony for selling drugs. And so my mom basically single-handedly raised me and my siblings. I'm the oldest of 4 kids. And so I remember, I got a lot of memories in our little subdivision, our little townhouse. My dad would come home and the fighting would start. And so I was the oldest of the 4 kids, and I would take the kids into my bedroom and I would close the door. And I had Amy Grant cassette tapes and I would put them in my cassette player. And then we would take plastic ice cream cones and we'd have Amy Grant concerts so that you couldn't hear my dad hurting my mom. And we would crank the music up because I didn't want my siblings to hear what was going on the other side of the door. And so there were so many times that my mom would wake us up in the middle of the night and she would put us in the car and she'd say, "We're leaving and I don't know if you're going to see your dad again." And one time we left when I was in 4th grade and we stayed with my grandparents for 6 months and I had to switch schools and I didn't know if I was going to see my dad. We lived with my aunt for a couple of weeks and then we went and stayed with my grandparents for a while, and my mom tried to find another job. And then we ended up moving back in. She always went back. And so it was hard. That was my childhood, was growing up. And I met my husband, John, when I was 16 years old. And 3 weeks later, we got engaged. And we've been married. May will be 19 years that we've been married. And he is the love of my life. He is my best friend. And I'm so, so, so blessed. We have 5 children: Gabriel, Isaiah, Gracie, Ben, and Noah, 4 sons and 1 little princess. They're 9, 11, 13, 15, 17. Just adore our kids. But we got married 3 years after we got engaged. And then I got pregnant with our firstborn son 3 months after we got married. It was like, and we had babies every 2 years for the first 10 years that we were married. So I was basically pregnant from 20 to 30, nonstop. I was pregnant or nursing for 10 straight years. The first year that we were married, we had 3 full-time jobs, and then I had a part-time job. We had a 21-hour course load, and I was pregnant with Gabriel. So John worked 2 jobs at 2 different competing gas stations. He would work 8 hours a day at one gas station. He'd go home and sleep for 4 hours, and then he would go to the second gas station, and he would work an overnight shift at that gas station, and then he would go to the first job again, just because we were trying to make ends meet. I worked 8 hours a day, full-time, typing for a publishing company, addresses. 8 hours a day. To this day, it is still the worst job I've ever had in my life. It was awful. So I would do that 8 hours a day. And then at night, I had a part-time job for a Christian bookstore selling CDs. And I had a 21-hour course load in college on the nights that I had off, that I wasn't working. And I was pregnant with Gabriel. So we had 3 full-time jobs, a part-time job, a 21-hour course load, and I was pregnant with my son and got a 4.0 in college that year. But every single month, we would get another eviction notice. Every single month, we would make it by the skin of our teeth. Because when you're making $5 an hour in the 90s and your rent is $800 a month, you can't afford to live. Like even with 3 jobs, we couldn't afford it. We couldn't make it. So we hunkered down and we moved in with my parents, and we lived with my parents for 3 years, 3.5 years, while we were on a waiting list to get into government assistance, to get into government housing. And our plan was John would work full time and he would put me through college, and then I would graduate and I would work full time, and then I would put him through college. We'd both get white collar jobs and we'd be off and running. So it took us 12 years to finish college. And that 12-year period, we were in, by American standards, now this is not like Africa, but by American standards, I would say we were in extreme poverty. Extreme poverty. We did eventually get into the assisted housing, first in DeKalb, and then in Dixon, and then in DeKalb. And I remember the first housing that we lived in. You guys can see the picture of this in the game plan book if you got your copy of it. The first house that we moved in was known for its water bugs, which is another word for cockroaches. And we couldn't afford any furniture. This is probably 3 or 4 years after we were married. So our children, you can see a little bit from the book there, our children slept on mattresses on the floor, because we didn't have any furniture in our house. And we were on public aid for everything. I'm not proud of it, but we were working 4 jobs. We literally could not take on any more, and we weren't making ends meet. So we were on the medical card. We had LIHEAP heating assistance to keep our heat on. We would keep our heat off until the heating assistance period started in November. We had the Link food card. We were frequenting between 3 different food pantries that we got our food from. We had WIC food assistance. We had government housing assistance. We got a gas card through our church for gas, and we were still getting disconnect notices, even with the 4 jobs that we had constantly. We just couldn't take on anymore. We were completely at our breaking point. It was 12 years that we lived like this in the 2 different projects, just juggling full-time work, full-time coursework, and trying to dig out nursing babies, having toddlers, and multiple jobs. During that time, I had 11 different jobs, 11 jobs. It was crazy. Most of them were in the food industry. I worked at pretty much every food chain that exists, save McDonald's and Burger King. I worked at delis. I delivered pizza. I worked at Subway. I worked at Chili's. I worked at Outback Steakhouse. Like I worked everywhere. Everywhere. And finally, there was one day where I was working in one of the delis, and I had put some food in a microwave, and I'd left the twist tie in there, and it started the microwave on fire, and they had to evacuate the restaurant, and it was filled with smoke. Nobody was hurt. But I was in a group chat with some friends that ran a radio station out in Saipan in the Marianas Islands. And he said, Sarah, he goes, don't take this the wrong way, but people are going to die if you stay in foods. Like, you literally have no talent for that at all. I think you should know now, by almost burning down a restaurant, that really isn't your niche, and you need to go do something else with your life. So you're very good at talking. I'm a radio station manager. I would hire you. He goes, but I think that you should go get a job in radio. It's like, no way, man, you're crazy. I don't want to do radio. Radio people are insane. And he said, no. He goes, you should go get a job in radio. So there were 2 radio stations in this little tiny town that we lived in Dixon, Illinois. One was an adult AC station. So they played Five for Fighting and Aretha Franklin. It was really weird. And the other one was a country station. I grew up in suburban Chicago. If you listen to country there, like, you'd get shot. So I just had the mentality that you just don't, no, I'm not going to work there. So I walked into this station. A guy that I needed to interview with, who was only in once a month, just happened to be there the day that I walked in. And I looked at him. So there's no radio experience. I've never even been in a radio station in my life. I have no degree. I've got 3 babies at home that are under 4 years old. I'm going to college. I have no background in communications or anything. No broadcasting, journalism. Any of those would have been really good choices for me. But no, I majored in Victorian literature and Japanese and history. Those were my majors. So I walked in and I said, hey, I'm here to apply for a job. And he goes, well, do you have a radio background? And I laughed and said, no, this is the first time I've ever even been in a radio station. And I see his hand come off of the applications. I was like, but I'm willing to work really hard, and I am doing a degree in English. So he said, all right. He goes, well, do you have a demo? So I don't even know what a demo is. And he said, well, just come with me and we'll record a demo for you in the studio. So he had me read a Dairy Queen commercial, and I had to say scrum diddly umptious, and I about died laughing like 11 times. I could not say this word. He finally cut it off and he's like, okay, we'll call you. So I left, and 4 months went by. And I didn't hear anything from this guy. And all of a sudden the phone rings, and I pick it up, and and on the other line, I say, we need to speak with Sarah Harnish, please. I said, Sarah Harnish, so that's me. And he said, well, this is Andy calling from the Dixon Police Department. And I have a warrant out for your arrest. And I said, I'm a straight A student. What do you mean you have a warrant out for my arrest? And I started arguing with him, and he lost it. And he said, no, this is Andy Jackson. And I just want you to know that I'm from WLLT, and we're going to hire you. You got the job. Congratulations. And so I'm screaming and squealing because I'm 20 years old and I got this job in radio. I was so excited about it. What I didn't know is that they paid $4.35 an hour. I was making $7 an hour at my deli job. So I worked every other Saturday, the morning shift for 3 hours was my first radio job. So after taxes, my very first radio paycheck was $21 a month. Not really enough to live on. I was there for 3 years, and then I graduated college. And a week after I graduated college, I got a job offer anchoring in downtown Chicago, which is Market 3, which does not happen to 21-year-olds. Like, it does not happen. And it's only the grace of God that I got that job. But so I went into downtown Chicago, and I'm a suburban girl, so I don't drive through the city by myself. I always have my parents with me. I pull in, and we are literally as downtown you can possibly get. It's the corner where they put up the Christmas tree. It's the mayor's office, the governor's office on the other corner, City Hall, and then the corner where my studios were. I walk in, and they have these 50-foot ceilings, and they're all marble, and there's 26 elevators, and I don't even know how to get to the right elevator to get to the floor that I need to be on. So I get there, I'm 45 minutes early, and I didn't know what to do, so I just stayed on the elevator. So for 45 minutes, I went up and down and up and down and up and down in the elevator. It was amazing. And I get all the way to the top, and a guy opens the door for me, and then I go all the way back down to the bottom, and he holds the door, and I was like, no. I'm like, no, I'm not getting out. And he said, you're not getting out? Okay, well, you're just riding the elevator? So I get up there, and they ended up interviewing me, and they gave me the job, not just for part-time, but for full-time as a 20-year-old kid. Like, it was crazy that I got that job. And it was on the number 4 station in the 3rd largest market in the United States. So I was talking to 7 million people every single day. It was insane, absolutely insane, and quite a thrill, but it was secular radio, and so it was very, very intense, and a lot of just a lot of backstabbing and ratings based, and you know, I remember one time the news director called me and he said, I'm going to give you a phone number, and I want you to call this guy, do an interview with him, and then I want you to use a soundbite from your interview in your news in 15 minutes. And I said, okay. So I take down the guy's number and I go to call him, and I asked him, I go, who is it? And the news director had already hung up. So I call, and the voice in the other line says, Barack Obama. And I'm like sitting there, I can't even speak for a second. I go, I'm interviewing Barack Obama. He didn't even tell me I was interviewing Barack Obama. I didn't even know I was interviewing Barack Obama, right? So I interviewed him, and then I had 15 minutes to get it edited and in my newscast, and then go on in front of 7 million people with the news story. So it's just a crazy, wild ride. I was very, very grateful for the time that I was in downtown Chicago, and I learned a ton. But here's the deal. I was on the air every day with people who make $7 million a year. So they're the personalities. I'm the news anchor that comes on with the news at the top and the bottom of the hour, and they're making $7 million. I'm making $35,000 a year to work in downtown Chicago. And we applied for housing in Chicago to try to get a little closer to where I was working, but there was an 8.5-year wait to be able to get in. And it cost $16,000 a year for the tolls, the parking, and the gas just for me to get to work. So we were living off of $16,000 a year for a family of 7. $16,000 a year. Like, we were still in poverty. We were still in the link card. We were still living in government assisted housing, you know, for all 7 of us to be living off of that much. And so many people have asked me, you know, well, why did you have an issue with your food? I don't understand. Well, the thing is if you have to choose between food or gas for your car, you're going to pay gas, because gas is an opportunity to get another paycheck. So you might have some more food in the future. If you don't, if you pick the food, then you don't have a job. You're going to get fired, and you're going to lose your job. So it was hard. And we were basically feasting from the food pantry. We went through transmissions in 4 used cars in 6 months. We get another used car, and then bam, the trans would go out. We go a few days with no food in the house. I remember one afternoon when John was at work, and we had another day until our link card went through, just digging through the couch and the van trying to find a quarter. That was when bread was a quarter at Aldi, because we wanted to get a loaf of bread. If I could get a loaf of bread, then I would bring it home and I would cut it into quarters. I would give it to the kids, and then John and I would go hungry for a couple of days just so we could get some in their stomachs so that they weren't hungry. It was hard. And if you went through our house and you open up all of our pantry cabinets, there wasn't any food. And we didn't have any food. We had nothing. I remember once we ran out of meat for 2 straight weeks because all the pantries didn't have any. It was another week before our food card went through and we didn't have any meat. And so I was just making things without meat in them. We ate noodles, whatever we could get our hands on. And I went to the food pantry and they said, hey, we'll have meat the next time. Just come back on Thursday and we'll have it again. So I came back on Thursday and they said, Sarah, we're so sorry, but the truck with the meat broke down like 2 hours from here. So we don't have meat for you again today, but we got a big shipment in of chocolate pudding. So I brought the chocolate pudding home and we literally ate chocolate pudding for 4 straight days until our food card went through again. So that's where we were. We would use birthday cards. We'd use Christmas cards to try to stave off disconnect warnings. If we got a check in the mail from a relative, there were so many times it came hours before our power was going to get shut off. I mean, so many stories of it being just to the penny of exactly what we needed. And we had done it right, guys. We did it the right way. John worked full time. He put me through college. I worked full time after I graduated and I anchored in downtown Chicago and I put him through college. We had 2 white collar jobs and we started repaying the $70,000 in student loans that we had racked up. But it's been 12 years and we're still paying them. We're still paying on those loans. Our 17-year-old son starts college on January 16th in about 2 weeks, and we're still paying on our student loans. $70,000. This is the American life. That's living the dream, going to school and racking up so much debt that you can't possibly pay it off. Weary worker, I have been there. Okay, I've been there. And many of your stories are so much harder than John's and my stories. That's why you have to take this seriously. You have to. All right. You don't need to work that hard. There's a way out. There's another way of doing this that doesn't require you putting yourself into debt that goes beyond the raising of the 20 years you have your children in your home. Okay. There's another way of doing this. So fast forward a little bit. I was in Chicago for almost 7 years and I started praying for another job. I remember one night I was sitting there. It was July 4th. I was on those shifts 12 hours a day. It would take me 2 hours to drive into the city. I had an 8-hour shift, 8 to 10 hours. And then I had 2 hours to drive back home. We lived 72 miles away from the station because we couldn't afford to live any closer because the housing in Chicago was so expensive. And so I was gone a minimum 12 hours every single time I went and did a shift. And I remember it was Noah's very first 4th of July, and I was missing it. He was a baby, he was 6 months old. And I was sitting in this skyscraper in downtown Chicago, and every year we had taken our kids, we'd driven into the city, and we'd sit on the lawn for free, and we'd watch the fireworks over Chicago, over Lake Michigan. And I couldn't do it this year because I'd been called into work. And not only that, but 2 of the people that I worked with had called off. So they called me 2 hours early, and they said, Sarah, we need you to come in because you're going to be on 7 radio stations tonight. I said, 7? They said, yeah, we haven't trained you on 5 of them, but there's a binder on the back shelf and just read it and you can figure it out. Every radio station you're on when you work for a network is you connect to them to a completely different way. So some have an ISDN line, some you have to pick up the phone and call them, some they call you, and you don't know unless you read the rule book and you know what you're supposed to be doing when you're filling in for somebody. So I came in early and I wrote the call letters of the station, then I write the newscast and I write the call letters out, and I kept all my scripts in front of me, and I sat down in that chair and I started with the first newscast, and for 8 straight hours I'd punch into the station, I'd read the in, read the news, read the out, punch into the next station, in, news, out, punch into the next station, in, news, out, punch into the next station, in, news, out. I couldn't get a drink of water. I couldn't go to the bathroom. I didn't have any food for 8 straight hours. And I finished the last newscast and I put my head down on the desk and I'm like, God, I can't do this anymore. I'm so tired. And I'm sitting there and I'm listening to the fireworks going off outside the skyscraper that I'm in. My kids are 2 hours away. There's photos of them all over my booth. I'm not seeing my children. And I realize I've got a golden ticket to work anywhere I want in this industry. And I'm absolutely miserable. I'm miserable because all I want is to be with my kids and be with my family. And I'm so grateful for the income. It's 6 times more than we'd ever made in our life, but I didn't have any freedom. I had no freedom, even working in downtown Chicago. So I sat down and I made a list of all of the things that I wanted in a dream job. It had 27 things on it. I wanted to be on morning drive so that I could get off at 9 or 10 in the morning and be home with my kids all day long. I wanted to work with men because women in secular radio are rough to work with. They're always looking for your job. So it was very, very hard. And I made a list. I wanted to be in Christian radio. There wasn't a Christian station close to us. And so I really, really had my heart set on Christian radio. Just I wanted to be in that environment. I wanted to get out of the ratings game. And I prayed and prayed and prayed over that list. And so I called my husband. I said, honey, I think I'm going to quit my job. And we have no other income. This is the best thing that we've ever had in 30 years. Okay. Ever. It's the best job I'd ever had. And I said, I'm going to quit my job. We have nothing in the works. He graduated college. He had 1,100 resumes out, and he had no bites on his resume at all in the tech sector of the United States in the Midwest. And so I called him. I said, honey, I'm going to quit my job. And this is my slow, steady husband who thinks through everything very carefully. And he said, okay. All right. Like not even a hesitation. He goes, you write up your letter of resignation. We're going to pray over it. You call me, we'll pray over it. And you let that job go. God's got something else for us. And so I wrote it out and we prayed over it and I put it in all the managers' boxes and I walked away and I felt so free. I felt like I had been released, even though it was the best job I'd ever had and I had nothing to take its place. I had no idea how I was going to feed my kids 2 weeks from then. I got in my car and I drove home and I laid my head down on my pillow and I fell asleep and I woke up. And the next day, John is standing over me. He goes, honey, he goes, there's somebody on the phone for you that wants to offer you a job. I said, they want to offer me a job. Nobody knows I've even quit yet the station. And so he goes, I think you should take this call. So I took the call and it was a job I'd applied to 16 months earlier, but they didn't take me because I was pregnant with our fifth born son and they couldn't offer me any maternity leave. So they went with their second choice and she had just left and they said, we've already interviewed you. We already know we want you. Please, would you start and could you start tomorrow? And I said, okay. And this station was 3 miles from my house. It was 3 miles. They let me take my kids and work with me. It was awesome. So I was there for 4 months because the Lord intended that to be bridge income. And then I got a call from a Christian network and it was in upstate New York. Keep in mind, I've been in poverty for 30 straight years. So we've never been on a family vacation. I pretty much had never seen anything outside of the state of Illinois, a little bit of Wisconsin, a little bit of Iowa, a little bit of Indiana. All right. But that is it. That is like the adventures of my life is the Midwest, right? Mostly just Illinois my whole life. And so I got a job offer in upstate New York with a Christian network on a morning drive position that would allow me to be home at 9 o'clock in the morning with my children every single day with an entire team of men. Matter of fact, I pulled that piece of paper out and it was all 27 things I prayed for, literally every single thing on that sheet 4 months after I prayed for it. And so I turned to my husband. I said, honey, this is it. Like, this is the job I prayed for. We have to take this. And he goes, Sarah, we don't know anybody. Like, we're going to leave our church. We're going to leave the doctor that delivered all of our kids. 5 generations of our family live in Illinois. Like, I don't understand. You know, we're just going to up and leave. And I said, but God wants us to jump, John, and we have got to jump. We have to jump. I prayed so specifically and he's answering the prayer. Like, this is what I prayed. And he answered all 27 things. And so John said, all right, okay. All right, let's do it. We're going to move across the whole country. And so I got in my car and I had Noah with me. He was still nursing. I have this little baby and I drive out to New York. I look at the ministry and I accept the job. I have 10 days to find a house for us to live and rent. And then I fly home. We have 4 days to pack our entire house with a family of 7 and mud the walls and paint the walls as government assisted housing. So there's holes in the walls everywhere. The carpeting had to be steam clean and everything. We had 4 days and it was over Christmas. So we had to say goodbye to all of our family and everything as we moved across the whole country. We don't know anybody out here. We've never been to the East Coast, never seen it. I remember pulling in and just looking at the mountains going, what is this place? What is this you speak of? Mountains. All I know of is corn and soybeans. Like, that's all we have in Illinois is corn, like everywhere. There's no hills, right? And so I get out here and I got 10 days to find a house. So that I'm training during the day and at night I'm driving through all these towns I've never heard of, trying to find a place for our family to live. And I get on the plane and I fly home and I get home and it's 4 days before Christmas. And I have this epiphany when I get back. I didn't get my kids any Christmas gifts. Like, I literally didn't buy a single present because we've been in such a mode of trying to move out, answered prayers, a cross-country move, learning a new job, learning a new board, learning a new team, trying to find a place to live. Like, it didn't even occur to me that we were only 4 days out from Christmas. So I go and I look in my bank account and I figure, well, I know it's going to be really, really tight because there's a 6-week gap between when my last paycheck came and when my first paycheck was going to come from the ministry. And so I knew there wasn't going to be much in my account, but I hadn't even looked at it because I've been traveling. And I open up and I look and we have $2.11 in our bank account. $2.11. I mean, we have nothing in our bank account. And I'm thinking to myself, God, I can't fix this. It's Christmas. We have 5 children, and I can't even go to the dollar store and spend $20 and get them a couple of plastic dollar toys and wrap them under the tree. John and I actually talked about going into the kids' rooms, wrapping some toys they hadn't played with for a while, just to see if they noticed, just so we could have something to put underneath the tree for Christmas morning, because we didn't have anything. And so we just started praying. We're like, God, please, can you provide? Please, can you provide? We can't fix this. We have no other income coming in from anywhere. John has been unemployed, 15 months. He's had no work. I don't have another paycheck coming for another week. And we need your help with this. As I'm praying, the phone rings. And I pick it up, and it's the Salvation Army. We had gone out to the Salvation Army every single Thanksgiving. They give needy families a turkey in a laundry basket with a whole turkey dinner. And you can throw your name in Chicago into a lottery, and there's a chance that your name might be picked, maybe, as one of the families that gets to come and pick up new gifts for their kids for Christmas. We had been picked before, but we were family like 800. And so she called me and she said, Sarah, I wanted to tell you that your name was picked for the lottery this year. And I said, please don't be angry with me for asking. And it seems really conceited, but please, could you tell me what number we are? I'm just wondering. She goes, you're number 6. You're number 6. And the pickup is tomorrow morning. Would you like to come and get gifts for your children for Christmas? And I could barely even answer her because I'm sobbing so hard. I'm like, yes, I want to come get gifts for my kids. So I hang up. And the next morning I go there, and I'm going to lose it now because this is like the hardest part of my story, so bear with me. I hang up and I drive the Salvation Army. I walk into that gym, and the whole gym, this is a school gym, is filled 3/4 of the way up with brand new Christmas gifts. Brand new Christmas gifts. And so we were allowed to pick out 3 presents for each of our children, our 5 kids, a jacket, gloves, a hat for them. And we're moving to New York. It's cold. And a board game for our family. I walked out of there with 3 44-gallon garbage bags loaded with brand new gifts for my kids. They still haven't had a Christmas that good. And I took it and I put it in the back of my car. And I sat down in my car, my old beat up car, and I closed the door and I just started bawling. I just lost it. All of the poverty from my childhood, growing up, all of the 12 years that John and I had been through, and all the jobs that we had held down, and how we tried so hard to get ahead, and that fight to get through college and to get our degrees and to do it right, and the heavy burden of student loan debt that we had, like it was all on my shoulders in that moment. And I just started praying, and I prayed the boldest prayer I've ever prayed in my life. My entire life. I prayed what our team has dubbed the Moses blessing over our family. I said, God, I can't do this anymore. I can't live like this anymore. The only way that we're going to be taken care of is if you provide for us and you take care of us and we live on your economy. That's the only way that we can do this is with you, Lord. We can't do it without you. And so I'm asking the boldest thing I've ever prayed in my life. God, I'm praying for the Moses blessing. If you go to the Old Testament and you look at the story of Moses, he climbed the mountain and he waited 40 days. He waited 40 days to see the face of God. That's all he wanted, was to see God. God showed up and the mountain trembled and the rocks fell all around him. And his face was down on the ground as God appeared, and he could hear the sound of God's voice, which is what he had prayed for, right? He could hear the sound of his voice, but the blessing of being in the presence of God was so great. It was so great that he couldn't even lift his face from the ground to look at what he'd been given. He never even got to see God. He waited a month and he never even got to see God, which is what he'd waited for, right? That's the Moses blessing, the blessing that is so great that not only can you not see it, you can't see the swath of it. It impacts you mentally, physically, spiritually, relationally, emotionally, financially, spiritually. It is a blessing on every single facet of your life. It is a blessing on your life. It is a blessing on your children's lives, your spouse's life. It is a blessing on the lives of your family, your immediate family, your extended family. It is a blessing on the lives of your friend, your inner friend circles, your acquaintances, your distant friends, your friends you haven't seen in a long time. And it is a blessing on families that you have never even met, who are blessed solely because they come into contact with you, because that blessing has been poured out upon your family. That is what the Moses blessing is. The blessing that is too great to even see. That is the blessing that I prayed for. Why? Not because I wanted to be filthy rich, but because I just wanted to give. I wanted to give it back. I was sick and tired of being a taker. My entire life I had been a taker. I'd been the one that was in such need all the time to try to keep our power on or try to keep our kids fed that I was always taking from people, and I wanted so bad to be able to give. It's in my heart and in my blood and in my gut to be able to give. And I couldn't give because we were always in survival mode. No matter how many jobs we had, we could never get ahead. And so I prayed the Moses blessing on our family. And I've prayed the Moses blessing on the Oil Ability team. And I have prayed the Moses blessing over you, Adrian and Kayla and Laura and Leah and Jenny. I have prayed the Moses blessing, and Cindy, and all of the people that are doing this boot camp, because there is hope and there is a way out. There is a way out. You don't have to stay where you are. You have to fight for it, and it's not easy. But I swear to you, it's not as hard as where you are right now. It's not as hard. When God gives you the Moses blessing, it's so big. It's so big that you can't do anything but share it. I had so many people tell me, Sarah, how could I possibly live on a diamond income? I don't need $30,000 a month. Well, here's the deal. It's not yours. It's not yours. You're supposed to pour it back out. You're supposed to pour it out on the people that you come into contact with, and they're worth fighting for. You are a steward of that money. You are a steward of the diamond income and the crown diamond income and the royal crown diamond income. You are supposed to give it back. You're supposed to use it to pour into other people. So pray for it. Be bold in praying for it, because you're giving it. You're a giver, okay? You're a giver. Okay. I'm collecting myself here. I'm collecting myself. We didn't pray for the Moses blessing because John and I want to own a jet or because we want to own multiple mansions. It's because every person we know lives like us, okay? Every person we know lives like us, and there was no way out, and there was no hope. There was no hope, okay? There is hope. There's hope. If you're in that place, I want you to get this oil and diffuse it. Diffuse it every single day. Put it on your feet. Breathe it in and pray the Moses blessing over your family. Pray it again and again and again and again and again, and knock and knock and knock and knock until God answers that prayer. He will answer that prayer for you. He will answer that prayer for you. He will. Okay? There is hope. I wanted to be able to give to others as much as God had given to me. And you can't do that when you don't have enough food. I wanted, since I was a little girl, to live on 10% of my income and tithe 90% of my income. Do you know what? We're going to be able to do that this year. This year, we're going to be able to do that. This year. Okay? God is answering that prayer. He's answering our prayers. He's heard our prayers. That's one reason why we have so many resources on our website. I get asked all the time, why are you giving this stuff away for free, Sarah? Oilabilityteam.com. It's why I'm not charging for boot camp, okay? It's part of our tithing mentality. It's part of giving back what's so deeply been poured into us the past 2 years of Young Living by the people that have mentored us, or even more importantly, by our team underneath us, and the way that they've so generously given us their little handwritten notes and their words of encouragement. When they have nothing to give, they're out there giving and giving and giving and giving. So a new adventure. Fast forward 7 years. My Young Living Starter Kit shows up on my door. I'm a news anchor. I'm a news anchor in upstate New York now for a Christian network, a powerful network broadcast to 5 million people. It's huge, but we're still subsistence living. We're still living right here, okay? I was making a middle-class salary. John got hired with a Fortune 500 company. He was making a middle-class salary, but we were just surviving. We advocate Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace University. I love his stuff, is amazing. And he says to me, list all that you have from smallest to largest, and then pay them off in that order. Then save $1,000 for an emergency fund. I want to do a quick plug here for my sweet Crossline friend, Steve Sheridan. He's billed as the Dave Ramsey of Young Living. He's amazing, and his teaching is amazing. If you need a good book on finances or coaching for Young Living specifically, go to j2hw.com, j2hw.com. It's journeytohealthandwellness.com. We were doing Dave's stuff. This is before I met Steve. But the problem is we were still subsistence living. We would save the $1,000, and then the water heater would go out in our house. We'd save it again, and then the van needed brakes. Anybody there right now? High five me if you're in that place where you save and it's gone, and you save and it's gone. We'd save again, and then the head gasket would go out on our car. Or the lawnmower was down, and we'd have 2 acres of land, and we needed another lawnmower. And so we kept emptying the emergency fund over and over and over and over again. So I found that 5 years after graduating college, with $70,000 in loans, a van payment, some credit, a mortgage on a 1,300 square foot home, which is where we live right now, 5 kids to feed, we were right at that break-even level. After 18 years of marriage, we had never escaped for one vacation, not a weekend, not anything, because that wasn't on the list. We had food. We were able to feed our family. It's a small savings account, and we had 2 cars running so we could get to work. That was what was on the list. Vacations were not on the list. And you know what? That's not freedom. All right, that's not freedom. I told you a little bit about how my Young Living journey started yesterday. I was introduced by a good friend of mine, went to a class, ended up getting my kit, came back, saw it work over 80 times the first week. I was so excited the way that I saw it work. And so I decided I wanted to get the oils for free. And I asked my husband if I could start ordering oils out of the catalog. And he said, the only way that you're going to be able to do this is if you teach. And so I taught a class. And the first class that I taught, I had 3 people get the kit at the class, and I had 3 people get the kit after the class. And I got my first check in my hand, and it was $340. And I looked at it and I was like, $340? That's crazy. Like, I just wanted $50 to be able to place my Essential Rewards order. So I was elated, and I got into a habit of teaching 4 classes a month. I did Friday night, Saturday morning, next weekend off. Friday night, Saturday morning, next weekend off. And we hit executive 2 months after I got my kit, and we were silver in 1. We hit silver 18 days after hitting executive. And I want to tell you, I've got no answer for such a large prayer that was answered, save the grace of God. I have no answer for that. I learned so much in the first year of my Young Living business. I made a lot of mistakes. I've been discouraged. I've been blown away. I've been grown. I've been stretched. I've been loved. I've been hated. I picked up the pieces. I put them together, and then I dropped them all on the floor again. I've made 10,000 mistakes, and I've had 10,000 victories. Then I have both of those ahead of me still. And this book, it would have saved me over and over and over again had it been written. The game plan book so would have saved me. This is my game plan. This is how I ranked. Each person is different. And each person has different gifts and different talents. And my road may not be your road, and my pace may not be your pace. And my tactics may not work for you, but I do know that there's a lot of tools in this book that are going to save you a lot of time. There's resources that took me a long time to find. And if I couldn't find them, I wrote them. I put them all in one place so that it was easy for Young Living leaders to rise in rank, and they knew what they needed to do, and they knew what their next move was, and they knew which way they were going and which way they were facing. So if I can save you some time, then you'll have a shorter path to diamond than I did. And that's awesome, because that's why I wrote the book, was for you. One of my life goals is to see as many people to diamond as possible, because when you become financially free, I promised I would explain this to you at the beginning, and you have the time economy then and the wealth to invest in the lives around you. You're not frozen. You're not a slave. The best way that I can help people is not by dropping things off on their door. The best way I can help people is by training them to rise up out of the places that they're in, to stand up. So these are the tools to stand. Game plan gives you the tools to be able to stand. You ready for your homework? I got you charged up. Are you guys on fire? Here's your homework for tonight, all right? Bless other people. Get them on the boot camp, okay? Oh my gosh, we got Jill Young on right now. Jill Young is a Royal Crown Diamond. Oh my word, I got some heart palpitations here. So I want you to get people on the boot camp. I want you to share this book with your teams. Game plan, it's on Amazon. And with the people around you who don't have any hope, all right? Hand it out like candy to Walmart cashiers. I'm handing these books out all over the place. Hand out one of your leaders who's discouraged, frustrated, stuck, desperate, who needs a way out. That's the thing that makes Young Living so amazing. You do better when your leaders soar. So help your leaders fly. Help them fly. Train them how to fly. I'm going to end by reading you a quote at the end of this chapter. It's the end of chapter 1, which you probably just finished. No, the end of chapter 2, sorry, which you're going to have to read today, all right? This is by a member of the Oil Ability team, Nancy, who I believe is going to go silver this year. She's an amazing, amazing woman. This is a quote right out of Game Plan. If you're following along, it's page 24. She says, I just wanted to tell you, I'm sitting outside in the sunlight reading the Game Plan book. I just read the first 2 chapters and I started crying. I'm sitting outside because my electric was just shut off. I was doing a great job for years, putting a front to everyone that everything is just great, but lately, I've been too exhausted to keep up the front. My husband is permanently disabled and many days can't get out of bed, and therefore, he needs someone here pretty much 24/7. He's been falling a lot lately, and he has fewer and fewer good days when he can actually walk with his walker. It's sad, but everything comes down to money. He'd have a better life. My 4 kids would have a better life, and I would as well. Anyway, as I'm reading your story, I just lost it and cried. Just knowing that I'm not the only one who's gone through this, that I'm not a bad mom, even though my kids don't have everything they need, that I'm not a bad person. Reading this has given me so much hope, a light at the end of the tunnel. I will work for this and it will pay off, not in 20 years, but now. So I just wanted to thank you. Thank you for sharing your story. Now into chapter 3. I learned the right way, the most effective and efficient way to work this business. Thank you again, Nancy. It's from Nancy. She's amazing. Proverbs 3:27. Do not withhold good from those to whom it is due when it is in the power of your hand to do so. Exactly. Yes. Hope. You guys are hope bringers. You heard me say that yesterday. How do you bring hope? Train your team. Train your leaders and train your team. Ready for your homework? All right. This is day 2. So I want you to read chapter 2 in the game plan book, and I want you to do the second chapter's workbook pages. I want you for tonight to write down your story. I told you my story. This little guy right here is part of my story. This is Noah Justin. This is my baby. Noah's 10 fingers. He's amazing. He's a big oiler. Love this little guy. He's the tiniest harnish, and he's part of my why. Taking care of this little guy is part of my why, all right? I want you to tell me your story. Write down where you've been. Share some of the hardest moments of your life. You might need some more paper, and that's totally okay. But whatever you do, whatever you want, I want you to end with this. Famine over. I am free. Famine over. Poverty over. I am a diamond rising. Young living is not a lottery. It's not a dream. It's not going to be handed to you. You're going to have to work for it. But I'm going to train you how to work for it. Not just to sit there and hold your rank for years, but to grow. Some people will grow fast and some people will grow slow. It doesn't matter. Freedom is freedom, no matter how long it takes you to get there, okay? Pace doesn't matter. The only people who don't get to diamond in young living are the ones that give up. When you fall off the horse, get back on the horse. Get back on the horse. You're going to have discouragement. You're going to have frustration. But if you follow the principle of never giving up, keeping your story right in front of you, keeping your why right in the forefront, and fighting for it, you are going to be free. The Moses blessing. The Moses blessing is what I pray over you tonight, all right? I love you guys. I love my Young Living family. You guys are worth fighting for. Don't give up. I'll see you guys for day 3 tomorrow. If you're still up for the challenge, you're still gonna stick with me. Share this story all over Facebook, all right? Share it. People need to know that there's a way out. They need to know that there's training. Go check our new site, oilabilityteam.com, just launched an hour ago. Get the books for your team. Give them to your leaders as they rank up, okay? Show them that they're worth fighting for. You guys are Royal Crown Diamonds, and I believe in you. I believe in you, and I'll see you tomorrow night, 9 o'clock Eastern, all right? Moses blessing.